Hi traders, this is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Wednesday the 27th of Feb. All right, now coming back to the major currency charts and just seeing what's going on now. The idea of coming back to your charts, first and foremost, is really to get an idea of where they are, what's happened, and then potential opportunities going forward. Now, you look at a day like today where there's, you can just see there's general US dollar weakness, okay? And it's just across the board a touch. All the majors have sort of rallied a bit. The dollar pair's a little bit lower, and then obviously sterling's higher. So you're looking at those situations. Now, your job is to find out what is driving what. If you can isolate what is driving these moves, if it's one event or if it's two or whatever it is, then you've got a very good chance of making some cash. Now, on the face of it here, you'd think, and with all the media out there at the moment, and we know Fed Chairman Powell is testifying in front of I think it was the Senate committee yesterday. He's got another round tomorrow. But if you have a look at what's going on and you read the media, dollar on defensive after Fed comments, sterling advance. So they've just updated this article here. Before they was just sort of attributing the dollar move down to the US dollar. As I'm saying, you've got to isolate where the move's coming from. And that's where you're going to make the cash. Look at the dollar index. Okay, pretty cruisy day, sideways, and then slowly just drifts lower. Now, from the time Powell started talking, it's probably off about 40 ticks, if that, right? That's hardly anything. Now, if the Fed was signaling anything different to what they've already reiterated, well, it's not really showing up. Now, what I want to do is actually just bring you back to the charts and show you where this catalyst is. Now, the basket, okay, the US dollar basket, why is the dollar lower? It's this sucker here. For my liking, it's sterling. Okay, the chance of a no-deal Brexit is actually putting huge upward pressure on the top side of sterling. Because sterling jumped from 131.40 up to 132 sort of 80. Okay, now that's 120 points. That's, if it was a US dollar move, which was only 40 points on the index, I could swallow what the media is saying, but sterling was the catalyst for the drift lower in the dollar. US consumer confidence numbers were strong, and it's just this move. And as you should be aware, the basket, right, 58% is euro, which is just a stupid ratio, and then about 12% is sterling. So these two currency pairs here rallying will put downward pressure on the US dollar. Now, you can actually see, with that in mind, what's going on here. Like you see the Aussie, yeah, it's slowly climbed, as has the Kiwi. Now, they are coming up against a couple of levels here. Once again, the US-China news isn't out there yet. So these currency pairs, no one's willing to buy them until we know that China's got a good trade deal. And they are sort of just drifting there. Now, dollar-yen has just fallen off the wayside. Looks like a stop-loss run above the previous high above 111. And it's back in the range just with that bit of US dollar weakness. And oil, okay, it did fall back to $55, starting to rally again, just making the dollar CAD a little bit choppy, trading sideways. So for my liking, when you come back to look at the dollar index, you can come back and look at it with a very clear view of what is actually happening. Of course, the Fed is very important, but Powell has just repeated exactly what he said. The Fed are going to be patient with rates this year. If the data changes, their view will change and their policy, which is actually just normal. So I think the media is trying to make a storm out of a teacup here. The dollar yuan, well, this is the big pair it's all in the focus. We're waiting for the US-China news. Now, you can be sure as hell Trump's friends will be all over this, so you'll see a move beforehand. At this stage, we do have a short-term downside move in dollar yuan. Suggesting, the outcome's going to be good for China. I don't think that'll last. But the good thing is this current price action has given us a resistance line here with a bit of focus just below 6.6 or 6.7. Okay, so we may have an entry there for a potential buy order should Trump pull out something crazy out of his hat, which I would expect. Now, also on the whole equity side of things, okay, pretty flat equities. Once again, that the equities will probably move next time if the Fed did change their view, which it doesn't look like Powell's going to do, or we get something out of the US-China trade issue, and that's where that'll come into play. Now, when you come back to look at the opportunities coming forward, you've really got to focus on the pairs and what's happening in the market. Now, if I just come back to the MyFX Trading Hub, it's a very, very thin calendar for the Asian and European session. Now, once again, that move in sterling, okay, let me just raise this page up a touch, because what you're trying to focus in on is the pairs, or the currency. Well, what's the market conditions like? Well, the market conditions, they're pretty normal, right? But the majors are drifting sideways, so that makes it a little bit tricky. And the main moves are coming from geopolitical events still. Brexit, US, China, and a whole bunch of other things Trump's doing. Sterling, well, it is screaming to the top side once again. As much as it screams down, it screams up. And this is all on Brexit news, so it's not exactly a tangible news event that you can actually trade, but because it's random, you're getting conflicting articles in different papers, so we have to sort of wait and see how that plays out. The rest of the pairs, yeah, the US dollar has drifted lower on the hourlies, but dailies and weeklies, it's still trading sideways, and that's pretty much the same for all these pairs. If anything, Kiwi looks like it's ready to have a little crack to the top side. Aussie will probably go with it, but it doesn't have that momentum that the Kiwi does at this stage. So that's where the majors are for me. Now, what have we got coming up? Well, this is where it's going to get messy for sterling and sterling crosses. We've got UK PM Theresa May taking questions in Parliament, and that'll be continually debated throughout the day and probably through the week. Now, that's going to be a tricky one, so I wouldn't be encouraging traders to get involved in that. Now, the rest of the trade day, the CAD CPI numbers. Now, to me, this is one of the best opportunities for the week. It's one number. Okay, you get the core CPI numbers. They're either stronger or weaker, and there's a potential trading opportunity. And that's where you bring back and connect with the actual charts, and you can actually go, well, right, okay, what have we got as far as dollar CAD's concerned? Well, we don't have any natural direction. But to me, that creates another opportunity, because what we might see is when you do come back to having a look at potential opportunity here on dollar CAD, it's got room to the top side and it's got room to the downside. Okay, so if the currency's here at the same time, if we get some decent variance, there may be a short-term trade either up or down, okay, because it's pretty much just trading sideways. So it's going to give you a bit of a chance as you lead into that Canadian CPI numbers, okay. That's, to me, over the next 24 hours, that's the next best option. Don't forget, we will have Jerome Powell back for round 2 as well. But you know what? He's doing such a good job. He's laid out the plan. He hasn't swayed from it. And the economy and the markets has a very clear understanding of what the Fed are doing. They're waiting for more information. So we're going to wait for US data. And unfortunately, today, well, we don't really have any US numbers. Okay, so just be aware when you are trading that there's not a hell of a lot on the radar just at the moment, but we will have some come Thursday. All right, that's it from me. Have a good trade day. We'll see you in the 247 trade zone. Cheerio.